Okay, moving on. We're going to talk about the five senses a little bit more and give you a clear understanding of how you're manipulated and how it's used in advertising and everything around you. Um, you see the five senses here, and they're colored. They're all colored specifically for a reason. Um, but they always use the base colors. I think I'm going to do the next video on the base colors. You have the three primaries, yellow, red, and blue. Green is the only secondary color that's used. However, in nature, green is the most abundant color in nature. The foliage, green. Okay, that's one of the reasons that it's used. But basically, what they're showing here is earth, air, fire and water, and the ether, or the wind. You've heard of earth, wind, and fire. It's the same concept. It's a manipulation tactic, but they won't tell you the crux of everything that's going on behind it. Any rate, the five senses. What's the point behind the apple? Okay, in the Garden of Eden, nowhere in the Bible does it say they ate an apple, but it's always depicted as, well, Eve ate an apple. No, it just says she took of the tree. Okay, and she ate. Well, why they use an apple is if you cut an apple crosswise, horizontally, the seeds make a little star right in the middle. That's the concept. The apple is what contains the sphere that contains your five senses, your faculty of thought. It's a concept. In Latin, the term for apple is malum, malum. But the word malum has a double meaning. It also means wickedness, evil, sin, debauchery. Do you get it now? Why the apple is bad? Goes back to the Latin. Look it up. Malum. All right, now let's look at this. Nourishing roots, planting people. People are trees. The Bible, allegorically, people are trees. There's a play on the advertisement for this company, but they're showing you something right in your face, and most people are completely clueless. The Bible is full of allegory, and a lot of it's absolutely real, but there's a massive amount of allegory as well. You have an apple core here, but if you look at it close, you have the feminine and the masculine. Do you get it? It's right in your face. Let's look at some more. All right. If you understand the concept of what the two serpents are in medicine that are going up and winding up the pole. The pole is, in the medical, is it's basically the pole of Asclepius. It goes back to the Greeks. But it also is your spine. It's talking about your spine. And this is your head, your crown, cranium. Okay? And you are not necessarily your body, your flesh garment. You're a spirit. You're a soul. You're a spark of the divine. God said he created man in his own image. Okay, that's why they give you the wings. The ancients perceived birds as spirits, part of the spirit world. So therefore, the word pneuma in Greek means spirit, but it also means wind. The birds were the controllers and the manipulators that could utilize the ether, the ethereal, the wind at their bidding. So that's the concept of what's going on when you see the wings. And the two serpents that are winding around is your soul and your faculty of thought. Okay? In other words, man is a body, soul, and spirit. Okay? The body is just a flesh garment. Okay? The soul and the spirit are always that which is trying to be manipulated. Okay? Man's soul is either going to walk in the flesh or it's going to walk in the spirit and do what God designed you and wanted you to do in the first place. And the two depictions it's just the two. They won't tell you there's three, because the Mystery Babylon, the ancients, see the body, the flesh, as just an outer garment, a shell, a husk. But if they can manipulate you to do their bidding, that's what they're looking for. And the aspect of the spirit is, well, they think that the Creator God made a mistake and trapped a spark of the divine in each human being. And they're doing mankind a good thing if they can liberate that. But in the meantime, before they liberate, if they can manipulate you and intimidate you to do their bidding along the way, well, they're going to get their rocks off in the process. So, the line between good and evil, just a little picture I saw, the scarlet thread is what they're showing you. This is in the Bible. In fact, it was what were the two twins' names? Zara and, my gosh, Zara was one of the twins, and Pharez was the other twin. That's in the end of Genesis. I want to say it's around chapter 38. Anyway, there were two twins, and they said, well, how are we going to know which one's the eldest? Because the birthright meant a lot. So, well, they told the servant to, well, the first one that's born, tie this scarlet cord around the hand. Will know that this is the oldest. So when the mom got ready to deliver, a hand came out of the womb first, and the servant tied the red cord around it. Well, then the hand went back into the womb. Pharez was born, and Zara was born second. But the prophecy was fulfilled. The elder shall serve the younger. And you can go in and read about that story. I'm sorry I don't have that scripture in front of me right now. But at any rate, again, it's a play on knowledge of good and evil. It's your brain, it's your mind, your faculties of thought. This is what all the mystery schools do to manipulate you. Again, here's a clear rendition of, we always associate this with medicine, medical. No, it's the people that were in the know knew how to manipulate things. The apothecaries, the ones that did the, knew how to use the herbs, the plants, and the roots. They were in the know. They had, the ability to cure. So, and again, this is the history on the caduceus and so forth. It's a fascinating study in and of itself. But again, the five senses. You get it? The 5 rings of the Olympians. Now the black and the white are interchangeable. Okay, black is an amalgamation of an absorption of all the colors of the light spectrum, whereas white is an absolute repulsion or reflection of all the colors of the light spectrum. Okay, if you mix the colors, yellow, blue, and red, the primaries, you get what? Brown. Okay, so I might have to do a study on color as well, because basically the colors of the rainbow, this blue and then indigo, that's just not true. The colors of the rainbow, that's another story. We'll go into that study later. But at any rate, again, we have the apple core that's depicted in the serpent. Okay? The tree of knowledge, again, they're showing you a brain with roots. You. Again, you see this on the side of ambulances a lot. The one thing that's unique about it, Asclepius is the one serpent depiction. When you see 2 serpents, most of the time, if you do your homework, this goes back to merchants, the ships, when they were exchanging goods, merchandise. Okay, it's a concept. It's pretty neat study. But again, apple here talking about the Garden of Eden, and it's never talked about an apple in the story in Genesis, but it's always associated. Okay. Again, your 5 senses. This apple, if you look at this really close, this is not an apple core or a worm. It's a woman squatting down. You can see her feet right down here. She may even be on one knee, but she's got her head bowed forward and her arms out to the sides. It's a woman. Pretty neat. At any rate, this is a depiction here of, again, the garden. Adam and Eve, they were beguiled by the serpent and they were cast out. Again, your 5 senses in your mind, the sphere that controls and governs your senses. In the Bible, Moses was instructed when the people of Israel, and they had left Egypt and they were in the wilderness, the story is that a lot of people were bitten by serpents, and Moses was instructed to construct a serpent, put it on a pole, and when anyone looked upon it, they would be healed, that would be saved. Well, it's a beautiful story, but I'm thinking that the people are mistaken, or were mistaken today, as far as, well, was it a snake that was put on the pole? I'm going to do a study on this. Or what exactly was it? Okay? Because you can read the story and understand it allegorically, people that were bitten. If someone takes advantage of you and you're betraying, backstabbing, just gossiping, doing all kinds of just stupid, carnal, selfish things to people around you, you're biting one another. You're backbiting. Okay? So is that what they're talking about? With your five senses, they were backbiting one another, and they were basically just going into ruin. Their finances were going to poop and everything else. Don't know. It's a beautiful story. I'm going to have to do a study on that for you guys on a video. Let's keep going. All right. The apple, the G, good. G as in gnosis, knowledge, good. Makes you wonder why in the world Apple, the company, Think Different, chose to use the apple as their logo. They're saying we've attained godhood, like the serpent beguiled even told her that she would become, as God. I don't know. TED studies. It's a play on, when you understand this organization is about, it's a play on, well, look how much good they do, and look what they're helping people with all their seminars and so forth. Well, it's really not. It's a bunch of liberal, bloviating knuckleheads that love attention from one another. Do your homework, look into it. Apple, and this acronym here, again, it's talking about your five senses. All right? The word in and of itself, the app of L. What is an app? It's an application. What is L? Look at it backwards. E-L. As in anagram, flip it around. App of L. What is an app? Application of L. What's L? God. The application of God. Attaining godhood. The play on words is so deep. Okay? Let's keep going. Education skills. The apple. Get it? This is, I believe it is a beer company. At any rate, it's Angry Orchard. Well, they make cider, ale, whatever it is. But why in the world do they have to call it Angry Orchard, and why do they have to have these angry trees, and the tree is depicted with the fruit that's still on the branches that's had a bite taken out of it? Makes you wonder what the intent is behind it, and the people that are in the powers that know what's going on with these companies. Food for thought. Moving on. Okay, Knowledge Quest, you get it? Knowledge Quest. Again, this Teachers Association, Urban Apple. You get it? It's a play on words. It's a play on you manipulating you and your five senses. You are the apple. You are the fruit that's delicious, or the malum, the wickedness. You're either good or bad. You're going to walk by the flesh or walk by the spirit. Applebee's, Health and Wise. Remember, I don't know if they even do it these days, but when I was growing up, the big thing was, well, take an apple to your teacher. Well, it's all over. If you're bright, you've got the knowledge of, you've been enlightened, the apple, you get it? To play on words. And there is this verse in Psalm 17:8, talks about the worm, and the apple and all that good stuff. So it's interesting to read and look at. And I encourage you to look at this stuff up. Let's look at some more. Apple a day again. Again, the Association of Medicine, Health, Doctors, and Produce. Apples. So, and again, remember we looked at the apple earlier when you did the cross section, and it has the seeds make a star. Okay. Well, this is a depiction of the Big Apple, New York City. Why do they call it the Big Apple? Well, if you've ever been to New York City and seen the lights, say in Times Square, seen the lights and the street performers, all the smells of the food, the vendors, all the things there is to see, it's an absolute, overwhelming Just overload on your five senses. It's everywhere around you. That's why they call it the Big Apple. They're overloading your brain through your senses. They do a very, very, very good job of it. Okay? And take a bite of knowledge. Feed your career an apple. Do you get it? Makes you think. Again, the play on words is so integral. I'm taking baby steps here to bring you up to speed. So we'll go from there. Remember always, think Jesus.